I thought silence would feel like relief. It didn't. Ever since the cathedral, ever since I chose to lie, the quiet feels heavier. Like the ship itself is holding its breath, waiting for the truth to crack. We left Aurum Sanctus behind as just another wounded shrine world. Officially, there had been a minor outbreak of heretical doctrine, swiftly contained by the Vigilant Inquisition. Unofficially, we fled before anyone could give the wound a name. Back in the Vale, the flagship's corridors felt narrower. The lumen strips flickered like guilty thoughts. The recycled air tasted faintly of incense, steel, and something unspoken. Vigil walked beside me as we made our way from the hangar. His armor still bore flecks of dried blood and marble dust from the cathedral floor. He hadn't cleaned it yet. "You're breathing too fast," he said quietly. "Is that an order now?" I asked. "A suggestion," he replied. "If you collapse before the debrief, the prefect will assume you are dead and assign your work to someone else." "I'm the only archivist you have," I muttered. "For now," Vigil said. The strategium doors opened with a heavy hiss. Inside, the hololiths were dimmed, as if even the ship wanted the room to feel like a confessional. The Council of Ash was already assembled, 8 giants around a low-scarred table. The shard of mosaic from the lost Primarchs lay at its center like a broken tooth. The prefect regarded me with that unsettling stillness of his. "Archivist," he said, "how many wars did you prevent today?" "Hopefully more than I started," I answered. A few of the veterans made the faintest sound that might have been humor or derision or both. "Report," the prefect said. I told them everything. The prophet's sermon, the Inquisition's arrival, the moment I chose to call the sarcophagus's grief a nameless wound instead of a buried crime. When I finished, the room was silent. All I could hear was the faint hum of the flagship's failing lumen globe overhead. "You lied," one of the Astartes said at last. His voice carried no accusation, only certainty. "Yes," I said. "You lied for him," another added. "No," I answered. "I lied for all of us." The prefect's gaze sharpened. "Explain." "If the Inquisition believed this was about the Emperor personally," I said, "they would raise worlds until they found the source. They would hunt you. They would tear open the veil stone by stone, and in the process they would wake the sarcophagus completely." I took a breath. "I gave them a story small enough to manage," I said. "A wound in reality, a stray psychic scar. Something they can classify, bottle, poke with sanctioned rituals, and file away." "And the prophet?" one Marine asked. "The man who heard our brother's grief and dared to speak it?" "He goes with them," I said. "He'll be interrogated. Broken if they decide he's dangerous. Purged if they decide he isn't." "And you did nothing," the Marine said. "Incorrect," Vigil said quietly. "He did exactly what we asked of him." The prefect's gaze slid from Vigil back to me. "Do you believe your lie was mercy, Archivist?" he asked. I thought of the prophet's face as the chains closed around his wrists, the word coward on his lips. "No," I said. "I believe my lie was necessary." "Good," the prefect replied. "Mercy clouds judgment. Necessity sharpens it." He turned to the others. "We have delayed catastrophe," he said. "We have not averted it." The shard of mosaic caught the lumen's light, veins of gold glinting like old scars. "The cost of silence is rising," the prefect murmured. "Sooner or later, someone will decide it is too high." I couldn't tell if he meant the Inquisition, the sarcophagus, or himself. The dreams did not stop when we left Aurum Sanctus. They changed. Before, the visions had been raw grief. Two brothers standing before a throne, abandoned. Now, new images crept in around the edges. Iron cells, cold light, inquisitorial sigils burned into bulkheads. The prophet was dreaming, and somehow I was dreaming with him. I woke one cycle with my hands aching. Red welts circled my wrists where chains should have been. "You are bleeding again," Vigil observed from the doorway. He had a way of appearing when my thoughts were at their worst. "Not all of us wear our damage on ceramite," I muttered, wrapping bandage around skin that wasn't actually wounded. He stepped into the cell and placed a data slate on my desk. "Intercepted traffic from inquisitorial channels," he said. "Their agents have begun classifying Aurum Sanctis as a site of localized warp trauma." "So they believed me," I said. "For now," Vigil replied. I skimmed the slate. Reports of psyker screenings, exorcisms, dozens of pilgrims forced to recount their visions until the meaning bled out of them. "The prophet?" I asked. "Classified," Vigil said. "They have placed him in a secure facility for ongoing theological decontamination." "Translation," I said. "They are going to break him until his faith points in the right direction." "Or until it points at nothing," Vigil added. For a moment, I saw a flash that wasn't mine. The prophet kneeling in a cell, fingertips raw from tracing invisible shapes on the floor. Two silhouettes hovering behind his eyes. "They're still using him as a lens," I said. Vigil's jaw clenched. "The sarcophagus reached for him before," he said. "Now it reaches more easily. Every time they force him to remember, they widen the channel. So my lie becomes self-fulfilling," I muttered. "I call it a wound, and they pick at it." "There is something else," Vigil said. He tapped the slate, bringing up a star map. Red markers flared at several distant points. "These are inquisitorial listening stations," he said. "They've begun triangulating psychic disturbances that match the pattern from Aurum Sanctis." "Echoes of the same grief," I said. He nodded. "They believe they are tracking a migrating warp entity," Vigil continued. "Something that moves from mind to mind." "They're not entirely wrong," I said. "No," he agreed. "They are wrong in a more dangerous way." A chime sounded over the ship's vox. Summons to the Council of Ash. "Come," Vigil said. "It is time to decide how much longer your lie can hold." The council chamber felt different this time. Not just tense, fractured. As I stepped inside, I realized why. The shard of mosaic was gone. In its place, at the center of the table, lay a new object. A small, obsidian seal carved with the broken serpent. The prefect gestured to it. "Our brothers in distant cells report similar disturbances," he said. "The sarcophagus's grief is not staying in the tomb. It is traveling. Through the warp," one Marine said. "Through those who remember," another countered. "Through him," a third added, nodding at me. The prefect's gaze pinned me like an insect. "Do you feel it?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "And no." "Clarify," he said. "I feel the pressure," I answered. "The grief. The sense that something unfinished is straining against chains. But I also feel a tension." "From the sarcophagus?" he asked. "From them," I said. "The souls inside it. The ones who call themselves sacrifice." "And what do they want?" a Marine asked. I hesitated. "To be heard," I said. "To be vindicated. To make him admit he was wrong." The word "him" hung in the air like a curse. The prefect folded his hands. "The Inquisition is tracing the pattern of these echoes," he said. "Sooner or later, that pattern will point at us." "What do you propose?" one of the older Marines asked. The prefect looked at me. I propose, he said, that our archivist help us rewrite the story again. They didn't call it a rescue. The 19th has no illusions about the scale of their generosity. They called it a recalibration, a correction to the narrative before it strayed too far from their grasp. We allowed the prophet to be taken, the prefect said. We did not agree to let him become a beacon. The plan, such as it was, unfolded across the hololith in a web of red and blue vectors, an inquisitorial fast ship, designation obscured, a classified detention facility in a region of space the Imperium called the Pale Marches, a scattering of minor way stations and astropathic relays, all under quiet watch. They have centralized many of their recent wound cases there, Vigil explained. Psychers who heard the same echo, one prophet among many. Wonderful, I said. A prison full of lightning rods. Your sarcasm is noted, the prefect said. He pointed to the facility. We will infiltrate, he said, not to free them all. We cannot. My stomach twisted. Then why? I asked. To dampen the echo, he replied. To sever or redirect the connection between the sarcophagus and its chosen lenses. In plain words, one Marine said gruffly, we are going to cut wires in human skulls. I stared at him. Is that a metaphor? I asked. His silence was answer enough. You will accompany us, the prefect said. Of course, I said weakly. Why wouldn't I? You are the only one who can confirm when the echo diminishes, he said. You feel it in a way we do not. And if it doesn't diminish, I asked. His gaze did not waver. Then we will escalate our methods, he said. The strike cruiser assigned to the mission was even more Spartan than the last. Almost no visible markings. A ship built to pass unseen or be forgotten if seen at all. We translated into the Pale Marches under a cloak of interference, skirting the edges of Imperial patrol routes. From the observation blister, I watched the detention facility grow on the viewport, a black spindle of metal and stone drifting above a barren world. Its shape reminded me of a nail hammered into the flesh of space. As we drew closer, the pressure started. Not raw grief this time. A chorus of smaller pains, whimpers of people who didn't understand why their dreams weren't theirs anymore. They are amplifying the echo by proximity, I said. Vigil, standing beside me, nodded. When you cluster enough receivers together, even a faint signal becomes deafening, he said. In the armory, I received my disguise. Not a pilgrim's robe this time. A plain gray uniform, the kind worn by low-level adepts assigned to medici or data clerical roles. We will insert via a maintenance dock under false transponder, the prefect explained. Our presence will be masked as a small group of inquisitorial support staff, transferring a new batch of case files and ritual equipment. Does the Inquisition often forget how many people they actually employ? I asked. Often enough, Vigil said. The insertion went smoother than it had any right to. A bored dockmaster, forged credentials, a brief auspex sweep that glanced off Vigil's field distorters and the other Marines waiting just outside conventional detection arcs. Soon, I was walking down a corridor that smelled of antiseptic and old fear. Clipboards and data slates in my hands. Rows of narrow doors lined the hall, each with a small viewing port. From behind some of them came whispers. From others, sobs. One voice cut through the rest. You took the wrong God's side, it said, inside my skull. I froze. The prophet. His cell door was indistinguishable from the others, but up close, the metal felt warmer, as if it had absorbed too much human contact. I stepped to the viewport. He was kneeling on the floor, back to me, tracing circles on the ground with his finger. His hair was shorter, his robe replaced with a neutral, shapeless garment. "I knew you would come," he said softly. "You see me?" I asked. "In too many ways," he replied. He looked over his shoulder. His eyes were bloodshot but clear. "They're in your head louder now," he said. "Angry that you turned their truth into a wound." "Angry or disappointed?" I asked. "Is there a difference to the dead?" he said. Behind my thoughts, the sarcophagus stirred. They didn't speak in words. They pulsed, a sensation like hearts beating out of time. We remember. We watch. We wait. "How many are here?" I asked. The prophet's gaze drifted to the corridor behind me. "Too many," he said. "Not enough." "Helpful," I muttered. He smiled faintly. "They fill the cells with anyone who dreams wrong," he said. Some saw the brothers. Some only felt a sorrow they couldn't name. Some heard nothing at all and were simply inconvenient. "The Inquisition has always loved broad nets," I said. He tilted his head, studying me. "Why are you here, archivist?" he asked. "To free me? To apologize?" "I'm here to make sure your suffering doesn't tear the galaxy apart," I said. His laugh was bitter. "That sounds like something he would say," he replied. Footsteps approached. Vigil's voice brushed my ear through the microbead. "2 wardens incoming," he said. "We are in position." I stepped back from the door, adopting a bored adept's posture. 2 men in black and red uniforms rounded the corner, chatting idly about rations and a recent execution. "New transfer?" one asked, eyeing my slate. "Case review," I said briskly. "By order of Sub-Inquisitor Rail." They both grimaced. "Emperor's teeth," the taller one muttered. "He'll have us writing reports until our quills turn to bone." "Better your quills than your tongues," the other said. They moved past me. Then the corridor lights flickered. Once, twice, like a heartbeat stuttering. A faint distortion rippled at the edge of vision. The taller warden frowned. "Did you feel that?" he asked. He never heard the answer. 4 shadows peeled themselves away from the walls. Hands the size of my chest closed over mouths and throats. 2 soft, wet sounds. The wardens sagged to the floor, unconscious but breathing. "We need them alive for a while longer," Vigil said, materializing fully beside them. "Dead bodies draw paperwork." "Friendly place," I said. He handed me a small device, a thin, needle-like implement attached to a palm-sized generator. "This is the recalibration tool," he said. "Please tell me that is a metaphor," I said. He shook his head. "The Inquisition uses similar devices to dampen uncontrolled psychers," he explained. "We have modified ours." "How?" I asked warily. "To target a very specific frequency in the warp," he said. "The echo you have been experiencing." "You want me to jab this into his head?" I asked, glancing at the prophet's door. "In the base of the skull," Vigil said, "near the spine." Briefly, "We are not lobotomizing him." "That is a very thin distinction," I said. "The device will attempt to retune his connection," Vigil continued, "to narrow the channel from the sarcophagus, to make him less of a beacon and more of a contained ember." "And if it fails," I asked. "Then we will know the sarcophagus's hold is stronger than we believed," he said, "and we adjust our strategy." "Including killing him?" I asked. Vigil met my eyes. "If his existence threatens the balance we are barely maintaining," he said softly, "then yes." The prophet watched me as I entered his cell. "No guards today?" he asked. "They're napping," I said. He smiled tiredly. "Did you come to confess?" he asked. "I came to give you a choice you won't like," I said. I showed him the device. He stared at it for a long time. That will hurt, he said. Yes, I said. But it may also keep the Inquisition from tearing the galaxy apart trying to understand what you are. And what am I? He asked. A man who listened too hard, I said. And a mirror the wrong people are starting to notice. And if I refuse, he asked, then they will keep pulling on the thread until something breaks, I said. Maybe you. Maybe them. Maybe everything. He closed his eyes. They are listening, he whispered. I know, I said. They hate you for lying, he said. But they are curious. They want to see what you will do next. So do I said. After a long moment, he turned, baring the back of his neck. Do it quickly, he whispered. The needle slid in with a soft click. The device hummed. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the world screamed. Not out loud. Inside my skull. The sarcophagus's presence surged. Not grief now. Rage. You dare. The prophet convulsed. His hands clawed at the floor. I nearly dropped the device. Hold, Vigil's voice snapped over the bead. Do not break contact yet. Pain lanced behind my eyes. My vision blurred. We remember his betrayal. We remember your cowardice. We will not be silenced. I'm not silencing you, I gasped. I'm trying to keep them from turning you into a weapon you don't control. The pressure shifted. Curiosity again. You think you can manage our truth better than he did. Arrogant, I laughed hoarsely. Arrogant would be letting you loose completely, I said. I'm just trying to keep the pieces from cutting everyone at once. Slowly, the prophet's spasms eased. The device's hum dropped to a softer tone. The pressure in my skull lessened. Not gone. Muted. The prophet sagged forward, panting. They pulled back, he whispered. Do you still hear them? I asked. Yes, he said, but smaller. Like I am hearing them from across a great hall instead of at my ear. I listened inward. The sarcophagus's presence now felt like a weight 2 rooms away instead of on my chest. They are not pleased, the prophet added. They rarely are, I said. Vigil's voice returned. Status? He asked. Connection attenuated, I said. They're still there, but less intense. Good, he said. Proceed to the next subject. I blinked. The next? I asked. This facility holds dozens of dreamers, Vigil said. We will adjust as many as we can before the Inquisition notices anything amiss. I looked at the prophet. This is what you do, he murmured. Not just remember. You edit. I prevent stories from turning into wars, I said. By deciding which pain is allowed to speak, he replied. He wasn't wrong. Over the next hours, we moved through the cells. Some occupants shrank from me. Some begged for help. Some screamed prayers to gods with too many names. In each, I felt a variation of the same echo. Sharp here, dull there. A chorus of unwanted receivers picking up a broadcast meant for someone else. The device hissed. People cried out. With every recalibration, the weight in my skull shifted. The sarcophagus's presence thrashed. You diminish us. You blunten our edge. Yes, I whispered under my breath. I am trying to. At some point, I stopped keeping track of how many we had adjusted. My hands ached. My throat was raw from explaining the same half-truths. This will help. This will quiet the dreams. In truth, I didn't know what it would do. All I knew was that, cell by cell, the echo grew less violent. Not gone. Tamed. Finally, Vigil called a halt. Inquisitorial patrols are increasing, he said. They are noticing the power fluctuations. As we made our way back toward the docking bay, the prophet's voice brushed my mind one last time. "You are becoming very good at this," he said. "At what?" I asked silently. "At lying in a way that keeps everyone alive just long enough to lie again," he replied. Back in the Vale, the debrief was short. "We have bought time," the prefect said. "The Inquisition's data will now suggest a less coherent pattern. The echoes will look like random noise instead of a single underlying wound." I sat at the edge of the chamber, hands wrapped around a mug of something hot and bitter. It did very little to steady the tremor in my fingers. "And the prophet?" one Marine asked. "He remains in custody," Vigil said. His connection attenuated. "Will they break him?" the Marine asked. "Yes," I said. "In one way or another." "Does that trouble you?" the prefect asked. "Yes," I said. "And no." He raised an eyebrow. "I don't enjoy watching innocents suffer," I said. "But I no longer believe innocence exists on the scale we are playing." "A dangerous realization," he said quietly. "For whom?" I asked. "For everyone," he replied. The shard of mosaic had returned to the table. Someone had polished it during our absence. The gold veins gleamed more brightly. "We cannot do this forever," one of the older Marines said, running ahead of the truth with a mop and bucket. "Our oath was to guard his sin," another replied, "not to rewrite the galaxy's theology one prison at a time." "They are the same thing now," the prefect said. He turned to me. "Archivist," he said, "do you still believe silence is the lesser evil?" I thought of Aurum Sanctus, of the detention facility, of the prophet's eyes as the needle went in. "I believe silence is a delaying tactic," I said, "not a solution." "And what would a solution look like?" he asked. I laughed softly. "If I knew that," I said, "I'd be a Primarch." The shard of mosaic seemed to pulse in the dim light. Later, in my cell, I opened the black-bound codex. I wrote everything. The mission, the recalibrations, the prophet's bitter humor. In the margins, I added a new confession. We are no longer simply hiding a truth. We are curating it, choosing which fragments of a broken God's story the galaxy is allowed to see. As I wrote, the voices returned. Quieter now, but sharper. "You think you owe them protection. You think you owe him containment. What do you owe us?" I set the stylus down. "I don't know yet," I whispered. Silence stretched. Then, for the first time, their presence softened. "When you decide," they said, "remember this. We were not destroyed because we were wrong. We were destroyed because we were right at the wrong time." A shiver ran through me, because I realized, with a clarity that made my stomach twist, that the same could be said of anyone who chose to truly speak for them now. I closed the codex. Out in the Vale, the fleet drifted. On distant shrine worlds, muted echoes of grief continued to ripple through sleeping minds. In an inquisitorial cell, a prophet dreamed more softly, and deep beneath a tomb world of black stone, a sarcophagus waited, not silent, never silent, only patient.